morning. And welcome to our Wednesday morning class. Thank you for you that came out today. And we'll continue on with our subject on the 7 thought patterns of creation. Just a quick review is that this is based upon what's called the 7 days of creation, the week of creation in the book of Genesis. But we have learned that a day does not mean just a 24-hour day, but even the Bible twice in Old and New Testament says that with God a day is 1,000 years. So when we're talking about a day of something, we're not just talking about a 24-hour day. We could even talk about an age, the age of industry, the day of whatever. So we're looking at this as a fact that that kind of challenges the old evolutionary idea or the Christian idea that God did things and wrapped it up in 24 hours. So this opens us to integrate evolution with creation instead of making them two separate things. One of the things that I think that is happening is this marriage that is going on between a lot of schools of thought that have separated us, such as are you a creationist or are you an evolutionist? We don't have to do that anymore. We can put those two together, and I've coined the phrase crelution, creation and evolution together into one word. So if people ask me, I tell them I'm a crelutionist. And that's my email, so when I give that quite often at a doctor's office or somewhere, it's interesting whose attention that catches. Some people just go right by it, and others go, that's very interesting. And that opens the door for me to tell them that this is a word that brings evolution and creationism together. And they'll go, that's interesting. So words are powerful, aren't they? Yes. And how we use them with people sometimes makes all the difference to where they're ready to receive and be seated with some idea that maybe they haven't particularly thought about. All right, so believe it or not, we're going to the second day, our thought pattern. And the first, I think you know, was because of the subject of light. That's the first one, let there be light, and we've been through all of the ideas of light, that the light is the embodiment of the pre-Adamic creation. So when the Bible tells people in the beginning, we have to really look at that and realize that it's not saying that in the original language, the beginning, but a beginning. So this is just a beginning, not the beginning of everything. So what is beginning here is what we're going to call the fall in vibration and frequency of the light to be in human form. And this is why that we all have gone through the teachings in the phase of the light being in me. Now you can substitute light from God within me, Christ within me, presence within me, whatever you choose to call it. It all begins with light. And just think about it. Most people's goal that's on a path is toward enlightenment, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure it really means what it is to be enlightened until we understand that it's remembering we are light. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure any teaching out there is going to bring you into enlightenment because you're already light. You just have to remember who you are. Right. So it's not something you attain through some school of thought. You can't reach it that way. Now, you say then, why am I a part of different people's teachings? If you have a teacher, a guru, a mentor of some kind, it's not through our teaching that you're going to reach an enlightenment. It's through our teaching you're going to remember you're a light being. And when you've done that, you've changed the frequency of your existence. And you're no longer seeing yourself just within the confinements of a materialistic world. a world of the physical, but you begin to see yourself as you were first created in the first thought pattern. Let there be light could be say, let there be you. Right. And we can even go farther and say, let it be you, let it be me. You are the divine expressed as itself and individualized. So anything that I say we are in the term of identify ourselves in deity, let's say we are that with a little letter, while source is capital letter. So capital L, light, form the little light, L-I-G-H-T. So the spirit that created us made us spirit. So spirit with a capital S becomes spirit with the little s. I used to tell the story that when I was growing up sometimes, I didn't do it very many times, but sometimes I really could drive my mother or a parent to correct me in some way. I struck back with some hateful words. I hate you, or you know how kids will do, or whatever. Or I would call them a name of some kind. And my mother would always say to me, well, if that's what I am, you're a little one of. Because you came from me, and that shut me up, you know, and I just never forgot that. So we are the expression of the source itself. And we all, I think, understand that through the teachings that we've all been on through in New Thought and metaphysics, that we have discovered that we are not in. I want to say to you that the fact that we use the term I am a lot here, the I am has been around a few times, and it starts out as a wonderful movement, but like every movement, for some reason we end up with ego getting into it and organizing it into something that is different than those who experienced it. And that's what happened with the movement of the I am many years ago, which I believe came out of Chicago, if I'm not wrong about that. And it was really a big movement of the I am people who was teaching the I am very powerfully. But ego got in, and there was a situation over money, there was a situation over power and who did this and whatever, and it kind of ruined the movement. And so the fact that it's kind of showing up again shows that these things come back in cycles. Somebody gets the experience of it, and then people come along and organize it, and it loses the experience in which it was born. And that's what we have to do even with New Thought. We can't just ride on the coattails of Fillmore or Holmes or Jesus, as far as that's concerned. How many Christians are kind of just riding on Jesus' experience without them having the experience that Jesus had?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I know Charles Fillmore and Myrtle had an experience that results in unity. And I know that Holmes had tremendous experiences that end up as science of mind, and so on and so forth. So let's be careful here in HeartLight that we don't fall into that same thing, that as this fresh new gnosis word of experience is happening to us, that we don't organize it into something that keeps the source of the experience that's bringing it forth. That makes sense to you? So that's important. I think experience is definitely greater than knowledge in that way. So we learned that something that's very controversial with Christianity is the message of Lucifer. Most Christians, I too was taught that Lucifer is what becomes known in Christendom as Satan. And actually, I think the answer in that is in the question, how hast thou fallen, O Lucifer? Light of the morning. That's very good. How did you fall, O Lucifer? How did the light fall into the frozen state of matter? And the first thing in its state of being frozen and trapped and materialized is blood. So blood is frozen congealed light that runs in your veins in your body. And then we give these clues that the blood holds the flesh, what keeps the flesh alive is blood running through you, right? It's all through the how it's circulating through the body. We know that. We also know the Bible is a very bloody book, which has turned us all off about shedding blood and sacrifices of blood and so on and so forth. But I think if you can look past that through the sensory perception about blood, you can see that it's the life in the blood that's important. Not the blood itself, but the life. And it says that the blood is the life of your flesh. Now that's different than the living of your flesh. Most of our flesh lives and dies. You get me? Mm-hmm. The body lives, and what lives dies. But not life. Life does not have a beginning and an end, or a death and a life. It is the eternal infinite of the light itself that's trapped in the blood. In the blood. So when Jesus gave up his blood, two things there that you need to consider. One, he gave up his bloodline because his physical body was a part of a bloodline of the tribe of Judah. He comes out of the house of David, the house of Solomon, all of that. This is where the royalty of Israel was to come from, in the flesh, in the physical. And Jesus said, no, I'm not who I am by my physical bloodline. I am who I am by creation. And for him to find that out, he had to go and travel in India and different places in the East before he came to that conclusion, to understand that he was the life and not just a living human being, and therefore he shed and gave up his blood. That makes sense to you? The bloodline. Because here's the truth. Even though they have watered Jesus, Yeshua, down so much that they have made him born of these parents that were not, they were kind of poor. He had to be born in a stable with the animals. You know that story. That's the story that Christianity, that's how he enters into the world as a kind of a lower perception of who he really was, because they really didn't want us to quite know the truth of his true identity. So I'm just saying to you, these 18 years of missing, and all that he did there was to raise his vibration and his frequency. And I think that if you look back at looking at why he traveled mostly probably in India and maybe in parts of Asia, if you look back at those today, these people have been into vibration and frequency for thousands of years. This is kind of new to us. We all got excited about 25 years ago, 30 years ago, when people started doing tuning forks and bowls and vibrations like this. Is new to us, but this has been going on for 5,000 years as far as in Asia and India. So this is how they have built, their consciousness was built on vibration and sound. We're a little late to that, but we are getting there to realize the importance of using vibration and sound. And again, you're reminded that this whole thing starts with the divine vibrating across the face of our deep, right? In Genesis, and God moved across the face of the deep, or God vibrated across the face of the deep. So the light came out of the vibration. So light is a vibration that is equal to what created us. And I think when we really experience and use the term I am, we have returned to that matching vibration of our Creator, between creation and Creator. Every time you say that, every time you say I am, and use that truly from the experience of knowing you are the I am that I am. Understand? The first I am is source. The other I am is source individualized. And that's why I love let this mind be in you that is equal to God. I am is the only thing that is equal in the frequency and vibration of Creator in that sense. So the first day was how the light through the spectrum of vibration as it lowered itself by slowing itself down. I want to say this. What was to be was that it slowed itself down to become what it had been created to be. Now, stay with me there. In other words, it was to become the manifestation of the material world. Well, that didn't happen. In fact, what happened is that it ended up in the material world, but not becoming the material world. So it never became your physical body, but ended up in your physical body. And we thought the ultimate goal was when we knew that it was in us. And that's what my message is to the New Thought community is don't get stuck with what's within you, because what's within you wants to become as you. Huh? And that's the next third covenant that we are moving into. Remember? We went through this. The First Testament is it's really the revelation of what God isn't. When you look at God as Yahweh, you're finding everything that the true Creator isn't. Mad, angry, vindictive. Oh my goodness, that's not what created me. But that's the God that people have connected to in the Old Testament, is this God, very race conscious. Had a chosen people, everybody else was dogs. Gentiles were dogs. Very sexist. No place for the mother, no place for the feminine whatsoever. It's all patriarchal male. So really the Old Testament wasn't about showing us who God was, but who God isn't. Then Jesus comes along from a different frequency and vibration, who says, I am the truth. Show me where Yahweh ever said, I am the truth. I am the way. I am the life. Nowhere. So Jesus represents a place in which what has fallen of Lucifer, the light, is waking up in itself and starting to discover itself in the human material world. So the second covenant is in us. And that's why I'm saying, why would you get stuck in the second one when there's a third one? Because the whole cycle that the universe uses is 3, 6s, and 9s. 2 is not a number of any completion. It is the number of companionship between Creator and creation. That's the two of you. Jesus sent it out by the 2s. Are you with me metaphysically? So now you have, I want you to hear this. You have God, Christ, Spirit in me. But who's me? If what's real is in me, then me must not be what's real.
That's good.
Me is just the container for what's real. And that's why I want you to be excited that you incarnated for this great event that was as powerful as 2,000 years ago of moving out of Yahwehism and Old Testament into the New Testament of Christ in us, the hope of glory, to the third as us. Not in us, but change every in us as becoming us. Now my pattern for that is, I admit, Jesus, Yeshua, whatever name you want to give the guy. He said that, just call me by my name. And if you don't get my name right, just call me by the Holy Spirit. That's in the Bible. Just call me by the Holy Ghost, it says. So I don't think he was into his body name. I think he was into his spiritual name, which was I am. Are you with me? So I'm not going to sit here and argue with Jesus, Yeshua, Isa. Isa is supposed to be his name in the 18 missing years that he was running around India. They knew him as Isa, I-S-S-A. Sanandra, somebody has that name. I mean, there's all kinds of names floating around, but the real name that you want to know is his I am name. That's the name that was given to him, that says that his name was given to him to be the whole family in heaven and earth. But again, we only hear what's attached to the physical, the body. And of course the ego says, well, let's argue over that for a while. Let's all figure out which name we should use. That's a distraction to keep us to the simplicity of the I am. So you that are in this I am thing, I want to keep this alive in you. I want to keep the flame burning in you. That's what the violet flame is to me, in one way, is a way of keeping it burning in us, as the experience burning in us, so we don't get off into doctrine and perception and whatever else. It'd be very easy for us to start a new religion. I'm not interested at HeartLight in starting out a new religion. Now, I'm going to say this, and I've been meaning to say that all last weekend, that if you come in here on Sunday morning, we look a little religious. We do a little churchy stuff sometimes. But that's what's left of us of 3D, because we're all coming out of religions. Most every one of you have tapped into some religion somewhere in this lifetime. I hear people a lot: Baptist, Catholic, Pentecostal, Episcopalian, whatever it is, we've all tapped into some of the third dimensional religions of mankind. That means in the overlapping that we're in, because things don't just stop and start. Things have to go through the process of mixed. And we learned that, if you remember, that we learned that every day there was evening and morning. Every thought pattern, every first day ends, and there was evening and there was morning. And we learned the root word for evening in Hebrew means to intermix or mingle. Think about it. When it's evening out there later, it's going to be not night and it's not going to be day. It's going to be a mixture, and we'll say it's evening time. In the morning, when the sun starts shining on this side of the earth, because that's an illusion, the sun does not rise. I'll guarantee you people will bet everything they have that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. But that's only an illusion, because the earth is what spins, giving the illusion the sun's moving across the sky. No, the sun is standing right where it is in the center of our galaxy universe, and the earth is spinning around. And so when we're on this side of the earth, the sun shines on us and it doesn't them. But when it keeps turning around, now it's on them and it isn't us. And that's why we have all these different zones of people, that are, we've got two members here that's in Europe right now. And I was trying to get a hold of Elaine, who's in Europe, and we had a hard time trying to connect with each other, because when the sun's shining on her side, it wasn't shining on my side. So we had a hard time doing that. So I hope that you get that. So I see us moving out of Pisces into Aquarian as a mixture. So if I get to 5D here at HeartLight, whatever that is, it's what we're becoming, but I'm not sure what it is yet. We've talked about that, some of us, like, where are we going with this? What's it going to look like to be totally out of the 2,000-year Piscean 3D world? How are we going to address the divine? How are we going to, when we meet, how are we going to do it? It's not clear yet, because it's not normalized itself and stabilized itself, because we're in the mixture, the overlap of those two things happening. And the old and the new are kind of overlapping. So we're in the evening. Reminds me of an old song I used to sing: there shall be light in the evening time, the path to glory you will surely find. It's through the waterway. Be baptized today. That used to be one of my theme songs in the first record that I ever made from Bishop Poole in Chicago, Illinois. And in the evening time, there shall be light. So I'm telling you, in this evening time we're in, there shall be light of a new day that shall shine, and it will create a new norm in your life, individually as well as collectively. So does that kind of make sense to why you come in here? We look a little third dimensional churchy sometimes at some of the things we do. Now, I made a statement one day, and I was really kidding, but it was very powerful. I said, we are and appear to be a church, but we're not. We're a mothership ready to launch into 5D. Oh my God, that's me at 16 years old. Okay. We don't need to go that far back in the old day. Trying to move forward. All right. So I hope you got something out of that, because I want to keep this I am fresh in us. While I'm on this, I'm going to stay with it, because most of the I am has been based upon the Old Testament Yahweh, who when Moses came and said to him, who do you say, Moses asked him, who do you say that I am? And he said, I am that I am. I've done a tremendous study on that. That is not the same I am Jesus said. But boy, the ego wants to contribute. The source of the I am is with Yahweh, the Old Testament God. It's not. I have broke it down. And in the Hebrew words that is used, it just means, I'm not telling you I'll be whatever I want to be. Yeah, it's like, let's say that Terry doesn't want me to know where he is, and I'm trying to find him and whatever, and I'm calling, and he doesn't want to talk to me, and he just says to whoever it is, just tell him I'm wherever I am. In other words, it's evasive. And the Old Testament God wanted us to be evasive of the true Creator. Then when Yeshua came, the teacher came, he understood that the essence of himself that we call the Christ consciousness was the true I am, that I am. I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. It's not the same I am, is all I'm telling you. But I had to do some deep digging. And I'll tell you folks, if I still encourage people to research and dig for yourself. Don't just pay us to do it. I mean, I appreciate that you that come and sit under my lessons and whatever, I appreciate it. But I want you to take responsibility to do some of your own researching and looking up things. I think it's very important that you keep yourself involved in your own personal path and not just follow the path of other people. Is that okay to say? Yes.
Yeah, I want to make a comment to that I am. I always thought of the I am in the Old Testament as being under the law, and the I am in the New Testament.
In under grace. You got it. That's exactly it. So he was saying, I am the law. I'm going to give you 613 things to do. If you don't do it, then I'm going to get mad at you and angry, and I'm going to put you in the fire and burn you, and I'm going to take your kids, and I'm going to do this, and all the stuff that he said to do. So that was under the law. The I am under the law. So you're absolutely correct. The I am is under the love of grace and mercy, and so on and so forth. So anyway, that's why we look, because we need people to come in here who's coming out of the church and be able to relate to us a little bit, okay? But at the same time, we're moving them to that they are the church they thought they were coming to. And that in them is the power and the presence, not in the building or even in the community. Now, when we have a community of people here, here's my goal, is to have a community of people, and it don't take a lot. We don't have to have as many as Elevation has to accomplish this. We just need enough. Hear me. It's not based on the quantity of seats, of people sitting in the seats. It's the quality of who sits in the seats. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
And I've chosen quality over quantity. I'm sure if I would compromise myself more years ago, I would have a lot bigger ministry and a lot more people if I'd have compromised myself a little bit. But I chose my intention was to draw those of depth.
Yes.
People looking for the depth of the Spirit, the depths of the teachings. Not the linear, but the depths. For the Spirit searches, yea, the deep things of God, for they are foolishness to the natural man. There's people coming here, and I'm sure they think this is foolishness. What did that man just say? And they're out of here. Somebody else comes in and says, "Oh my God, I've been hearing this, but I didn't think anybody would even believe this before."
Yes.
So I think we need to be both. Because even if we look churchy and I get up here and I do my little dance or whatever I do from my dance time and the church time, if you listen to the message, we're moving you on. I'm not up here dancing and praising or do whatever I do when Spirit hits me because it's saying we're okay. I'm saying it because I'm ready to move us on to the next level of our bioconscious experience. It's in the teaching. And it's in the teachings that those that have ears to hear will hear. Anyway, thank you for letting me say all that, because I'm trying to set the understanding of the transition that we're in. We are not the butterfly yet, but we are not the caterpillar either.
That's good.
We're just sometimes in the goo of the third dimensional breakdown that is going on. But what's awakening in us is, oh my God, the divine DNA. Creator's DNA is waking up in you like the DNA of the butterfly was waking up in the caterpillar. I can't imagine what's going on in that caterpillar's mind when it goes, oh my God, what is happening here? I was very content to nibble on this leaf. Now I'm at the end of the leaf and I don't know, am I going to fall into my utter ruin? Oh no, I'll create some wings and I'll fly into heights that I have never known as a caterpillar. Are you with me? And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to create our wings so that we can fly into heights and dimensions that we did not know of, but beginning to know of. All right, here we go. So you that have missed the first day and the many teachings that we've done on Let There Be Light, they're online and you can do that. And you that have been here, I would revisit some of those if you get a chance to relook at them. Especially if you've been here, because now you have enough in you that when you hear it again, you'll have a resonance with the teaching. That's why teaching should not be one thing and just move on and move on and move on. You need to keep going back to the teaching, because each time you have a reference to the teaching and you get more out of it. And you hear what you didn't hear the first time. All right, let's go. We got a little bit of time here to go into the second thought pattern of the second day, which is dividing of the waters.
Day 2?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Well, I could have stayed with day 1.
That's right.
I had plenty more. I wanted to get the Merkaba and all that, but that's another time. We'll do that in the advanced version, the advanced of the advanced version. But let's move on to the second thought pattern. And the Spirit of God vibrated across the face of the waters. Genesis 1:2, the Concordant Version says, God said, let there be the firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Now there's a lot to unpack in that verse. When it says waters, it's not talking about water. It is talking about people. So let me go on and read a little bit from Genesis, from Revelation. The whole concept of dividing light from dark and waters from waters speaks of the placing of humanity into the heavenly thought patterns. The book of Revelation tells us the waters represents people in Revelation 17 and 15. So the scripture teaches that the waters are people. God is dividing the waters that are above from the waters that below is referred to Genesis 1:17. God is literally bringing a people above into the heavenly thought patterns, which will elevate their consciousness from the people who are in the human carnal pattern of thinking. Let's say it again. Bringing a people. Now, let's take this for a minute. Most of you that I have had any contact with, and we've talked about your experience, tell me that you have felt different ever since you were born. You've never quite fit 100% into your ancestral genetics, your race, or your gender. We are truly the outcasts of Israel, which is not a bad thing, but a good thing. Now, the reason is you have incarnated in this lifetime you're experiencing now through a different portal and vibration that what most people in your life have come in on. You see, I'm going to stay with this because when I read some channeling from Jesus through Barbara, I can't think of her, Resenick, I think is her name. I'm not getting that completely right. But it said in there that the place in which souls incarnate into the third dimensional earth is right over Iraq, Iran, and North Africa. Right now, I'm very drawn and fascinated toward the Ethiopian people and who they are, because they have discovered that they are part of the lost tribes of Israel, which happen to be people of color. So this is a great crossover for that part of our history. Also, the temples that they have found buried in Ethiopia are phenomenal. Another thing is they have 81 books to our 66 books of the Bible.
So who's lost? So who's lost?
Who's lost?
They got 81, and we got 64, 66.
Then there's another in between that's got 71. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show a video next Wednesday, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. But it's about this very thing right here, about the books of the Bible. And Gnosticism, it's just wonderful. I think this will put together a lot for you if you'll come next Wednesday and we'll do this video. I like to do that once in a while. It gives me a break, one thing, but also it brings everything together in an interesting, documented way. Anyway. Oh my goodness. So you have to go back to Genesis, the beginning, where we are, and understand that when it says, in the beginning was God, wrong word. It's not God there. In the Hebrew, it's Elohim. And the Elohims came down out of the sky.
Yes.
You want to get heavy? Let's get heavy. I've already seeded this with some of you. That's why everybody looks up to God. You notice that, everybody? Let's look to God. We always look toward the sky. Because something came out from above, out of the sky, to the earth. Now, if you look up the word Elohim, it's interesting, but it's not G-O-D, God. It is little G-O-D-S, gods. Plural. It's a compound, singular, plural word. Now, who are these gods? Jesus seemed to know about them when he said in, I believe, John 10, as your law have said, know ye not ye are gods, whom the word has come to, whom the Logos, the word of light, has come to enlighten your mind? You will know that you are a part of the gods. Now let's unpack this gods idea. And also it's repeated in Psalm 78, know ye not ye are gods and the children of the Most High. Same word. Well, I did a thorough study on this word. First of all, I found out that it comes from the word that means magistrates, representatives. So I'm asking, now you see, if I look that up to get me close enough that I could say, okay, Spirit, give it to me.
That's good.
I don't stop
Right.
with the Hebrew and the Greek and the Aramaic, although it's through that it puts me in context, a better context, where I'm closer now, where I can say, okay, Spirit, show me. And that's the word, the Logos. And it said, what was shown to me is that, and I'll try to go through this, the Gnostic idea of God is what I connect with, because I teach that true creator, no, not creator, because you got to understand, a creator only starts when it creates something. So before anything was created, what was it? It wasn't a creator till it created something. I wasn't a dad until I formed the body of my daughter. I had a life before I was a dad.
Wow.
I had a life before I was a husband. And I had a life before I was a son, believe it or not. And that life was in the mind that created me. So here we are dealing with something at a level we can't name or locate or call anything, because it has no label to call it that. And that's why the book, I believe it's in James, says the invisible, incorruptible God. The invisible.
Yes.
And I've shared for you that are new, I'll give it to you again, but the definition that I needed to communicate with people about God is this: a non-local, undefinable, conscious interacting with itself. Creation starts when something unconscious became conscious and said, I am. That is you. You were created as the result of the invisible having a realization of itself. You are the itself. When you say, I am divine, you are the itself that it came to know and whatever. So anyway, so here I am with this thing that's infinite. Think about it, infinite, no beginning, no end, no label, no location. What am I going to do with it? And it understood that, and it was an it at that time. It wasn't even male and female yet. No, that comes later. That comes later until mama comes along and produces him. That's the sad thing in Christianity, is they took the mother completely out. And how can you have a son without a mother? How can you have a male of any kind without a woman?
That's right.
Without the feminine? So in its infinite consciousness, it said, what I will do, I will start lowering my vibration and frequency. First, I will become in an infinite amount of universes. Now this is new stuff. Multiverses.
Right.
How many of you hear about multiverses? Reading it in books, multiverses. We know there's not just one universe anymore because we've been to the end of this universe with the Webb telescope. There's a beginning. The Big Bang was the beginning, and they say millions of years it's going to be the end of this universe. So here we are in a universe that has a beginning and end, and we're trying to define something that has no beginning and end. So the only way that it can have an infinite amount of beginning and ends is to make it itself into a universal being of infinite universes. So let's lower the frequency a little more. And now it'll become an infinite amount of galaxies. Now it'll become galactic. Are you with me? Universal to galactic. We thought there was so many numbers of galaxies. Now we've named over 200 billion galaxies, and galaxies that have galaxies. And they'll never find the end of it because it's going to be an infinite amount of galaxies to hold the indefinable, definable in the galactic. That's why you keep hearing about the Galactic Council. That's why you keep hearing that those that are coming on the earth and showing up are from the galactic center of the Tula, it's called, with the sound of the G, G-E. What do you think Jesus is all about? But he's the one who found the center of the galactic and become a galactic being. Well, let's bring it down a little more. Now we'll become the infinite amount of solar systems. Now let's step it down to a planetary frequency. Now I can be held all the way to a planet. And for some reason that we don't understand in the mystery, Earth seems to be a planet that is positioned in the skunk works of the Milky Way galaxy. Skunk works is a term that's used for laboratories in the back of places where they experiment and blew up things. I mean, if you look at where we are, it's nothing that fantastic. We're not the closest, the furthest to the sun, but we happen to be positioned in the very right place that was chosen for everything of the divine to find a frequency to show up on a planetary level. And that's the Elohim. The Elohims are the true divine one showing up as representatives of the one that cannot be defined, is definable through and on the planet Earth. Now, if this information is true that resonates with me, that, people talk about going through the tunnel. You hear that? Near-death experience. I went through the tunnel. That's the portal. You incarnated through the portal, and you go out through the portal. And it's not till you're going through the portal that you get it. And that's not by accident. They've set it up that you don't get it while here in the body. You get it through death as you're going through the portal. And you're going, I could have had a V8.
Right.
Oh, hear me. Because the word that's coming out now is to a generation that will not walk as their forefathers.
That's right.
Psalm 78. Your plight is no longer reincarnation of death and rebirth. If you check in enough, you will see that Spirit is trying to tell you this is the last incarnation in the third dimensional time-space continuum. And you are programmed and wired to get it before death. Oh, death, where is thy sting? No, somebody help me. Oh, death, where's thy sting? Oh, grave, where's your victory? I ain't coming back no more. This is called the day of the Lord in religious terms. Now, when the Elohims got here and came out of the sky as the Elohims, the true representatives of the true Creator, they landed on the hottest piece of real estate in the galaxy called Earth, Gaia. The thing that is hot about this planet that souls want is because it's a free will planet. It's a free will planet. So it's actually the true representatives of the true God Creator that shows up and misuses its choice to choose differently than what it had been chosen to do. And there was nothing to correct it because it was equal to where it came from. So it had to be honored. And here's what it chose. It chose, first of all, we do not want to be the representatives of anything anymore. We want to be the thing that we've represented. We're going to be the God that people's going to worship. Whoa, didn't know this was going to happen today. No wonder there's so few of you. Wow, everybody take a breath. So souls have been coming in. Now because of this, these Elohims are very intelligent. They're not a part of formation. They're not a part of evolution. They still hold the power of creation within them to create what they choose to create. And instead of create, they miscreated. Are you with me? Now it's called form in the Bible. And God created and the Lord God formed. Created and formed. Form is a word for the ego's miscreated what's created. So the world you live in with all its trouble and racism, disease and sickness and death is a miscreated world. And that's why Jesus' message is not until the kingdom comes will you really see truly who you are and who I am. Pray that it's done on earth just as it was done in heaven. That should be your prayer every day. Oh, come, the dominion and the kingdom of true creation, and swallow up this miscreated world. Come, immortality, and swallow it up, the mortal. So I've got 7 minutes to wrap this little part up. So the Elohims were very brilliant. Now, there was already here people on the earth, and they're symbolized as trees. If you do a deep study in the Bible of the symbols of trees, you will see they're people also beside water. It says, even the trees shall clap their hands. Jesus saw a man as a tree. And the trees were here before Adam was, and he came among the trees. So there was earth seed that was trying to evolve while the true Elohims were coming down and ascending to the earth. Now, with what was evolving, the Elohims had skills and technology such as manipulation of our DNA, of the DNA of the earth people. Now, I'm going to show you in a minute why your DNA didn't get totally manipulated, and a lot of the sperm logos word of God remained alive in you enough to make you different from everybody else in your life and world and family. So when they did what they did, they opened up the technology of dumbing down spiritual souls coming into the earth, dumbed down enough that they could 100% forget where they come from and who they are, and therefore they could be taught who they wanted them to be. This is the seed of religion. Religions were made for the purpose of keeping you from knowing who you truly are.
That's right.
They're going to bring you in as a sinner. They're going to bring you in lack. They're going to bring you in all kinds of stuff and then promise you a heaven to attain it after you die. You can't have paradise. You can't be with Jesus. You can't have life eternal. You cannot be in a place in which you'll have no more tears and all of that until you die. It's important to keep death the way to heaven. And Jesus said, no, I come to give you life and more abundantly. For the last enemy shall be death, and it shall be put underfoot. Let me get to this. So the souls that begin to incarnate through the portal that they had created and manipulated to dumb us down enough that we cannot get the experience of being awakened in a lifetime. But 2,000 years ago, give me a little time here because I can't leave you. 2,000 years ago, well, let me go back. When so much here. When the Elohims came and had the free will, only a portion of them chose, because a third, it says, fell to the earth out of Lucifer, out of light. A third of them said, we're going to take over and become what we represented. A third of them said, no, we're not. We want to stay true to our assignment of coming and representing the true Creator. Well, these that chose to take over the planet and to be the God of this world, and that's what the Bible calls it, read it for yourself, and the God of this world has come to blind the minds of people, were banished off the planet. Your soul, your spirit, was banished off the earth and sent into star areas as Pleiades and other star systems. That's why, and look it up, 80% of what makes up your atoms is stardust. Check it out. The same thing that makes stars in a people is from the stars. I know I came from Pleiades. You got to find your own place. But you are star seed and not earth seed. That's why you don't fit on this planet well. That's why you don't get the way people think all the time on the earth and the third dimension. It's because that's not who you are. But 2,000 years of the banished Elohims, one found a way to come back. Who's the first of the brethren? What do you think the Bible's talking about? It says the first of the brethren, the firstborn, the Alpha, and the Omega. And that is the one we call Yeshua, Jesus the Christ, made it back to the earth. And get this, when he found his way back, he made a way. Come on. He made a way. He left a ripple of vibration and frequency from the stars back to the earth. And all of those that had been banished started incarnating on that portal and no longer was coming through the portal that other people were incarnating in. I say, why'd you give me this? And that's why he said, I'm the way. The way to what? To the I am. I'm the truth. I'm the life. And nobody can come but through me. Now everybody in Christianity thinks that's Jesus saying that. You got to accept Jesus. No, it was the I am that said I'm the way. Through Jesus. Are you with me? Jesus didn't say it. He channeled the I am in all of us.
That's good.
But the ego says, oh no, he's the only I am. Let's worship him. And not find out that his true teachings, which they've edited out in religion, was empowering each and every one of us to do the works that he has done and even greater.
And even greater.
So this is the waters being divided from the waters. Those who have come through a different portal are divided from those who came through the portal in which technology has dumbed them down. For them, their only hope is reincarnation. You understand? There will be, not everybody, this is not the end of reincarnation for everybody. There's others who are going to have to keep reincarnating until they get it, but everybody will get it.
Yes, right.
You got the promise of Creator. Everyone, all comes out of me, through me, and back into me. For the Spirit returneth back to God who gave it.
Yes, yes.
There's no lost people. And that's why I don't argue with people about reincarnation, because I don't think there's people that even choose to be reincarnated. I think there's options when you go out of the body. I don't think anybody's made to do any one thing. It's at the level of consciousness you go out of the body in which you will make your decisions about your process.
Right.
Well, wow, I didn't mean to get that deep and heavy, but this is deep and heavy times.
Yes, it is.
I've sprinkled this through the last 6 years I've been here once in a while, but I've never fully addressed it as today. So again, I say to you, take it for what it is to you. What you don't understand, do not judge it right or wrong, good or bad, but hold it in contemplation of the neutral. And say now, Holy Spirit, the inner teacher within me, what is for me to receive out of this? I do receive it today. For I am the center of my power, not David. I'm sharing to you from my experience, not my knowledge. Do you think I wanted to believe this stuff? Do you think I wanted to be challenged in everything I've been told and believed? This is what has left me without mother and without father, if you understand me. I had a great parents and somewhat of a family, I don't know, but I'm not there anymore because that's not my source anymore. My ancestry is not my story. My creation is my story. And that's why, as much as I love my daughter and my grandkids and all of that and appreciate them and whatever, I am more attached with my spiritual family because we have a like vibration. A like vibration. And I'm not trying to save my family. I would love for them. When they come here, one time I'd like to hear my daughter say, I really got something out of this. She's never once said that, but that's okay. That's where she is. That's the choice she's making. My grandkids don't seem to be interested in anything at all spiritual at all. And that's fine. Because that's not my story. That's not my story. That's not the path I'm following. I did my job, made my deposit in the 3D world. It's fine. And all of you, and many of you have done your job in 3D. But I hear the Spirit say, come up hither in the sum realm, for no dragons abideth here. Let's take a moment. Divine Holy Spirit, our inner guide and teacher that holds the memory of our creation. Those things which we have forgotten, you are always there to remind us and bring back to our memory what we're ready to receive. For your nature is not to convert us, but your nature is, I thought you just might want to know. So today that are open, that are here, are with us online, or will be with us, let those that have an open heart and ears to hear, as we one by one join together to reach critical mass for the great shift. As we move into the third covenant and agreement of spirit that did not become will become in us and as us. And at that moment there will be no inner, no outer, no male and female, up or down. As Jesus said in the book of Thomas, the lost book, when that happens, you shall behold my kingdom on the earth. And so it is. Thank you for giving me a little extra 5 minutes here I didn't want to leave you too up in the air. I'm more than willing to stay for a little while for any discussion or questions if you have the time and want to do that. If not, I certainly understand. If not, but thank you for coming. If you have anything to give the class, we do receive. We do not take offerings, but we receive them. And here we start. This is a new month, isn't it? Today, the first?
Today's the last, the first 11.
Oh, we got one more day. Okay, wow. Because I'm going to tell you, May and June is going to be a whirlwind month. Get ready. And I mean on every level, not just in the spiritual level, but on many, many levels. It's going to be a real intensity of energy that is really going to do a fast work in the transformation process. It's been slow, but it's speeding up. That's why you think the day is shorter. 24 hours is now 16 hours in the electromagnetic field. So that's why you got to match frequency. If you're not, you're going to be overwhelmed, overstimulated, hard to sleep, hard to do anything, moods, whatever is going to be very much affected if you're not in match with the frequency of transformation and change. So I would suggest every day to set your tone, set your frequency to the I am presence, and just say, no matter what happens today in politics, no matter what happens today in any system of this world, the only thing that will not change is the I am that I am, and I find myself centered and anchored in the I am presence of myself. And so it is.